Hello YouTube pipers, Double O Pipe here, or just plain Rick. I hit a milestone. I have 100 subscribers. Ain't that a kick in the head? I'm surprised I had 10. That was kind of fun to see that happen. I hope everybody's doing okay. I'm sitting down here looking at a pipe. My cob without the green stem. Codger Hall. Codger Hall. This is that new jar, and I must have crammed that down in there because it is really packed. I need to put some out and let it dry out a little bit, but I never think about that. The other day, whenever I had those beers, I think I made a mistake and smoked 2 bowls, one right after the other. And I may have gotten some nicotine in my system because I was feeling sick, cold sweats, and just, it was like that time that my daddy made me smoke that entire cigar just because he caught me putting it out on the cedar chest. That was a long time ago. But I remember how I felt. I was all green. He took me aside and he said, "Well, I hope you realize that this is going to hurt me more than it is you." Why do they always say that? Why did they always say that back then? Anyway, I said, "You want to spank me?" And he said, "No, I'm going to make you smoke the rest of this cigar that you wanted to smoke so bad." And he watched me smoke it until I turned green and threw up all over the place. I wasn't even in grammar school yet. I think I was 5 years old. But he made me smoke that entire thing. I think at that particular moment I'd rather have had the spanking. I forgot to open the window. Well, heck fire. That's what you get when you don't plan ahead. The major part of my plan was to get Hunter to go out. Which I accomplished. He did go out. He did take care of his business. And he got his treats. He does like his treats. At any rate, like I said, I had that same feeling as I did when I was that 5-year-old boy smoking that cigar. I don't know where he must have had it for some special occasion or something, and I found it, and folks weren't home. I was there by myself, had some matches, found that cigar, lit that thing up. And every time I thought I heard the car and them coming, I would grind it out on the cedar chest. I thought I heard the car 3 times, so I ground it out on the cedar chest 3 times. And when Dad saw that, he knew there was only one person in the house that could have done it. Anyway, my first introduction to tobacco. Or maybe it wasn't if that pipe was lit way back when. That was probably 2 years prior to that. I was sitting in that high chair with a pipe. But I doubt seriously he had that lit. Well, once again, I was thinking about what in the world I could talk about. And I had 2 things on my mind. One was Iceland, when my ex and I first moved there. And the other was 1965 and Hurricane Betsy. Back in those days, when we were young and stupid, Clyde and I would be happy the hurricanes were coming. We didn't have any responsibilities, and we just enjoyed riding around in them, watching the wind and rain and the trees, and we would go to the beach and watch the waves. But this particular time in September of 1965, on Labor Day, he came to the house and he said, "Okay, Neff, let's go to Florida, Miami. There's a hurricane heading that way, Hurricane Betsy." I was always game to go anywhere. First, we had to make a stop, though. We had to go to the Piggly Wiggly, pick us up some chasers, some mixers, and something to eat, which we did with a 4-foot-long hoagie, or whatever they call them now. He was back there talking to the girl making the sandwich, and I was getting all the mixers and chasers. The girl was new back there, and he had to get acquainted. He always, you know what I've said, he was always the friend of the women. At any rate, he got the sandwich. I got the chasers. We went out and got in the car. I put my bag in the back. He put the sandwich in the bag that we were going to eat later on the way. And on the floor, he had a gallon, 2/5, and 3 pints, all Calvert's Extra. I don't know if they make that anymore. It was a light whiskey. Actually, it was a cheap whiskey. And he always liked getting more for his money, especially when it was a whiskey of some kind. But Calvert Extra took his money, and that's what we had. So anyway, he pulled out of the Piggly Wiggly and headed down the road to hit 17, or Savannah Highway as we called it. We were rolling along. He said, "Well, you going to mix one or not?" And I said, "Okay, I'll mix one. I'll mix 2." Which I did. And we proceeded to drink. We had several on the way to Savannah. And as we got to the Savannah River and went up over the bridge that crossed it into Georgia, there were 2 cop cars up there on the side of the road. And we were a little on the tipsy side. We were a little more than on the tipsy side. And he waved us over. And we thought, oh, Lord, are we in trouble? I said, what do we do? All this stuff in the floor here. He said, throw the map over it. Throw the map over it. So I threw the map over it. He had his pistol out, and I shoved it under my butt and sat on it. And the policeman said, welcome to Savannah, boys. This happens to be Labor Day, and y'all are coming into our state, and we got live television over here. Wants to talk to you and find out why you're here and what your plans are and how you're going to drive safely. And Clyde said, well, we'd love to help you, officer. That was the policeman's first hint. Anyway, he looked around the car because he wanted to make sure, but he didn't see anything because that map was over all the booze. That was a lot of booze in the floor too. And we started inching up. He walked alongside of us. He said, now you're going to go up there and you're going to talk to the lady who's the news person up there, and she's going to hand you a glass of orange juice and welcome you to the state and hope you have a good holiday. And Clyde said, ooh, we could use some orange juice. And he said, turn this way, son, and he got a whiff of Clyde's breath. He said, oh, you boys, I know what it is now. I just want you to know that you're getting a free ticket on this one, because if you go up here and you talk to the lady and you keep it civil and you say thank you and tell her what your business is, and then I'll let you go and you can just ride off easy. But if you don't, if you pull an antic of any kind, because I know you've had a drink or 3, then I'll haul you into jail. So you better do right by this. So we pulled on up. The lady stuck the microphone in Clyde's face and asked her all the questions, and he was very civil and very, very nice. Answered all the questions. Didn't sound drunk. He knew how to control his speech when he had to. They said, well, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for talking with us. I got somebody right behind you here that I want to talk to them too, so y'all have a good day and drive carefully. You're in the state of Georgia, and we want you to get there alive. We said thank you, and he took off very slowly, got back on the road, looked behind him to make sure that cop was going to keep his word, which he did. And we headed on down the road. Now, Hurricane Betsy was headed toward Miami, and that's why we were driving down 17. We were going to go to Miami and catch that hurricane and ride around in it. About halfway through the state of Georgia, we saw a hitchhiker that looked like a sailor, and it was beginning to rain, so we felt sorry for him and picked him up. Don't think he was too happy whenever he realized the state of what our condition was. But he thought he'd take advantage of it. He thought we were drunk enough we didn't know what we were doing. He said, "Which way y'all going? Where are y'all going to Miami? Which way you going?" Clyde said, "We're going straight down this road till we get there." He said, "I know a shortcut." Clyde said, "Where's a shortcut to Miami?" He said, "We can go through this town right here, and then you could drop me off down there just a ways." Just a ways was about 300 miles. And Clyde said, "That's no shortcut. You just taking us out of our way." He said, No, I promise it's a shortcut." So Clyde pulled over and he said, "If you think that's a shortcut, then you can get out and head that way on your own." We let him out. And we took off again. We drove for, I think it was 13 hours. And we got to Miami. We were both intoxicated and worn out. So he pulled over to the side and he said, "I want you to drive for a while." I said, "Okay." He sat over there and went to sleep. Well, about 15 minutes later, cop came up behind me, lights flashing, siren. So I pulled over and I said, "Clyde, wake up." He didn't wake up. And the cop knocked on the window as he came out from his car. It was drizzling. And he said, "Can I see your license and registration?" So I shook Clyde and woke him up. And he was kind of out of it. So I need the registration for the car. And he said, "Why?" I said, "This policeman here wants to look at it." He said, "Policeman? What did we get stopped for?" The policeman said, "You have an out-of-state license. I just wanted to check up on you. People down here, you never know what's going to happen. People come from out of state down in Miami." So he got his registration out. This policeman didn't realize that we were drinking heavy. I don't know why. But anyway, he okayed it and said, "Just be careful, boys, and don't get in trouble." So Clyde took over the wheel. And he said, "We might better find a room and sleep for a while." So I said, "Okay." So we found a motel, got in the room, and fell asleep, slept about 5 hours. Got up, walked outside, and there was no rain, no wind. He said, "What's going on? Where's that hurricane we're supposed to be seeing?" I said, "I don't know. Turn on the radio and see." Well, they turned it on and the radio said, "Hurricane Betsy has now taken a route for Charleston, South Carolina." We had just left Charleston, South Carolina. So Clyde was kind of upset and I was just worn out. He said, "I guess we better go back to Charleston then if we're going to catch our hurricane this time." I said, "Yeah, we better had." So we turned around and we started heading back. we didn't drink so much going back because we just wanted to get there. So anyway, as we were nearing Charleston after going over the bridge from Savannah, we heard on the radio, Hurricane Betsy is no longer heading for Charleston, South Carolina. It's turned around and it's going to Miami Beach. Somebody was looking out for us, is all I can say. Because that was a destructive hurricane. So we just decided, to heck with this one, we'll wait till next year. But after we heard the news of all the destruction that happened, we kind of decided we wouldn't head out of state for a hurricane hunting, but we would stay home and see how it is there. In the past, we had always driven around in the hurricanes, and there was nothing really destructive. I mean, there was, damage and such, but it wasn't as bad as the one that came through here in '89, which was Hurricane Hugo. My dad said he had never seen so much destruction since he had been in the war. And Hurricane Hugo changed my mind about going outside in hurricanes. That was the first one I was frightened in. But that ended Clyde and my hurricane hunting. We weren't the brightest back in those days. We were just young and stupid. Well, that one wasn't so much. Maybe I should have talked about when we went to Iceland. I don't know. Next time, maybe. Well, like I said, I hope everybody's doing well. This is the Codger Challenge. I don't know which one it is. I think I've got something like, I can't believe I have something like 20. This will be 24, I think. I never thought that I'd go beyond 4. I just wanted to do that, get it over with, and win my prize. But it's been kind of fun. I've enjoyed it. And people seem to enjoy the stories. Well, like I said, I'm still surprised. I'm at 100 subscribers. And all you folks out there who ask people to sub me, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I appreciate it very much. Well, I see I've gone way over my limit here. And I hope I put a little entertainment into your life. I don't know if I did or not. But I enjoy my memories. It's always nice to think back on those times and see the fun you had. And we did have some fun. So, remember the Piggly Wiggly. We lost our Piggly Wiggly. It finally went away. But anyway, take care, people. God bless. Till the next time.